After Star Wars: The Force Awakens, moviegoers around the world fell in love with Poe Dameron, a loyal soldier, a good friend, and a heroic leader. He's not afraid to crack jokes when squaring off against lightsaber-wielding psychos, and the dude can fly any ship you put in front of him, whether it's an X-Wing or a TIE fighter. But best of all, Dameron is played by Oscar Isaac, one of the most talented actors in Hollywood today. And while Isaac might be best known for Star Wars, his resume includes everything from indie thrillers to superhero blockbusters. Here are all the places you've seen Poe Dameron before. The Nativity Story. For his fifth feature film, Oscar Isaac landed the part of Joseph, one of the most important but least acknowledged characters to have been involved in the birth of Jesus. Despite that lack of background info, Isaac totally succeeds in bringing his biblical character to life, playing Joseph as a virtuous man who sticks by his betrothed, Mary, even when she mysteriously becomes pregnant with the Son of God. Body of Lies. One of Ridley Scott's lesser-known films, Body of Lies follows a CIA agent played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who's hunting insurgents across the Middle East. But despite his fluent Arabic and scraggly beard, DiCaprio can't win the entire Iraq war by himself, so he needs a bit of backup from his sidekick and field operative, Bassam. Sporting a ponytail and a machine gun, Bassam is the guy who covers DiCaprio when the going gets rough. Unfortunately, he also doesn't live very long, getting blown into little bits by an RPG during the first act. But despite his limited screen time, Isaac totally holds his own against DiCaprio, right up until he's turned into human toast. Robin Hood. Just a few years after Body of Lies, Oscar Isaac reteamed with Ridley Scott for a grittier take on England's most famous outlaw, played by Russell Crowe. This film didn't do especially well with critics or audiences, but Isaac's sleazy turn as the infamous Prince John was a standout. As a man obsessed with taxing peasants and cheating on his wife, Isaac took full advantage of every opportunity to chew the scenery, stand around naked, and generally come off as a royal jerk.
You have a king and the runt of the litter to call you mother.
Sucker Punch. This 2011 film by Zack Snyder tells the story of Baby Doll, played by Emily Browning, who's framed for murder and shipped off to a horrific 1950s mental asylum. In order to cope, she escapes into her subconscious, where she encounters dragons, Nazi robots, and of course, this guy. Oscar Isaac plays Blue Jones, an orderly at the mental asylum who becomes a slick pimp in Baby Doll's fantasy world. The dual role gave Isaac lots of room to show off his acting chops and his sexy singing voice. Drive. There is no denying that Ryan Gosling is the star of Drive, but Oscar Isaac is pivotal to the plot of this 1970s-style thriller. Isaac plays an ex-con who's hoping to start his life anew and set things right with his wife, played by Carey Mulligan, which is complicated by the presence of Gosling as the cool, quiet neighbor on whom she's developed a crush. Hey, she's only human. Despite a tense introduction, the two men end up collaborating on a criminal scheme, but Isaac's character doesn't make it to the end credits. However, his death sets off a chain of events that culminates in the most gruesome elevator beatdown in the history of film. The Bourne Legacy. What the fourth Bourne film lacks in Matt Damon, it makes up in Oscar Isaac. This time, the up-and-comer plays the enigmatic number 3, a government operative who's being punished for falling in love on the job. Relocated to a cabin in the middle of Alaska, he survives just long enough on screen to give star Jeremy Renner a helping hand before being wiped out by an assassin drone. Inside Llewyn Davis. Written and directed by the Coen brothers, this is the movie that finally put Oscar Isaac on the radar of Hollywood and audiences alike. He earned a Golden Globe nomination for his performance as the title character, a musician struggling to make it in New York's folk music scene. Whether he's auditioning for a hard-bitten music producer, verbally sparring with John Goodman, or carrying a cat through Manhattan, you can't help but root for this guy.
Llewyn is the cat.
No, Llewyn has the cat.
Plus, you've gotta love watching Oscar Isaac perform a duet with Adam Driver long before they meet again as enemies in The Force Awakens. A Most Violent Year. Set in 1981, this movie from 2014 finds Oscar Isaac playing Abel Morales, an immigrant businessman with big plans and even bigger problems. The owner of a heating oil company, Abel plans on taking control of the Big Apple, but first, he needs to raise enough money for a pricey piece of real estate, tangle with the district attorney, and discover who's stealing his oil. With the beautiful and brutal Jessica Chastain egging him on, Isaac's conflicted character has to decide if he should take the high road or another kind of path. Ex-Machina. Oscar Isaac is at his bad guy best here, playing a tech genius named Nathan, a man with the freaky ambitions of a Frankenstein and the tech savvy of a Zuckerberg. In a movie where everyone is on their A-game, including Alicia Vikander in the role of a seductive robot, Isaac completely steals the show, oozing with menace and contempt, bullying his AI creation, and tearing up the dance floor in one of the movie's most memorable scenes. X-Men Apocalypse. No Hollywood resume is complete without a superhero flick, and Oscar Isaac gave the genre a go with this one, in which he plays a blue-skinned mutant with a serious god complex. After napping for a couple of millennia, Apocalypse emerges from his tomb, decides he hates the 80s, and prepares for world domination, only to discover that he stumbled into one of the worst films of the X-Men franchise. Yeah, critics hated X-Men Apocalypse, and American audiences weren't crazy about it either. Meaning poor Isaac spent hours under all that makeup only to have his character criticized as an incredible letdown. But while he didn't find success as a mutant, Oscar Isaac is set for life as a Star Wars hero, so it all works out in the end. Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.